Me for this particular session. Wonderful meeting all of you. The topic of today's session is very important and contemporary when we are all going through a churning of newer ideas everywhere. The new education policy is just ready 1 year back, and then everybody is trying to see how best we can utilize the opportunities provided by the new education policy and ensure that we grow to greater heights and make sure that education is more and more, I would say, higher education particularly is more and more prone to newer ideas. We have been generally very straight-jacketed in most of the institutions. I'm just coming from two older institutions. I worked about 12 years in Kharagpur, IIT, 15 years at IIT Madras, and last 2 years at IIT Hyderabad. And we see generally that we all live in silos, and then coming together has been always an issue. So, whereas the current generation of students, they want to know things which are wider in nature in terms of their understanding and want to have a more freedom to learn. The so-called ABC that NEP talks about is a wonderful opportunity in that direction. And multidisciplinarity is something which is an essential way by which I think we can bridge these gaps between the silos in which people have been living. At IIT Hyderabad, we have started a few things. I just want to share some of those to give you an idea of what are the things that we can do. These are just, I would say, a tip of an iceberg, and a lot more can be done by everyone who is a leader here, an educational leader. One thing that we started is something called Center for Interdisciplinary Programs, and we strongly felt that master's program, when I say master's for an IIT, it is typically an Mtech program. So an Mtech program we strongly believe should be more industry focused. And as a result, we have started discussing and brainstorming with a number of industries and asking them what kind of people need to be generated for the future industry, particularly keeping the Atmanirbhar Bharat in mind to see if India has to grow. We strongly believe that academia and industry have to work together. So we brought out a number of Mtech programs, starting from something called additive manufacturing, something called energy, Mtech in energy, Mtech in sensors, Mtech in e-waste management, for your information, and Mtech in smart mobility, and even an Mtech in what we call it as medical device innovation, where a student spends about 4 months in a hospital and comes back and says, these are the problems that the patients and the doctors are facing. I will pick up one of them and work on it and bring out a device at the end of my 2 years of Mtech. Every student of this program has to bring out a prototype at the end of the Mtech program. So these are certain things which we strongly believe that it is important to bring out, and a number of new things are coming up. For example, we have something called EV technology, electric vehicle technology, Mtech that has come up. And we even went to the extent to say that manufacturing industry needs engineers who are different from the so-called computer science engineering type of students. They need to have a computational knowledge, but it is not simply Java or C++. So we started a B.Tech in what we call it as computational engineering. This B.Tech in computational engineering gives a solid background on numerical methods to all the students, and then builds on the solid mechanics and the fluid mechanics and whatever else that people talk about. For example, I am a materials engineer. We talk about, can I predict the property of a component starting from the structure of a metal? What we call it as multi-scale modeling, which is helping a lot nowadays in reducing the time required to coming up with newer materials. And a lot of AI also goes into all that. So this kind of program has been initiated this year. And for your information, I can say the students who joined, the joining rank and the closing rank, if I look at in terms of the JEE Advanced, they are close to CSE. And we discussed with a number of industries, and they are all of the single opinion that it is the need of now that such a program should be started. We even started a B.Tech in industrial chemistry, because chemical engineering B.Tech is significantly different from what we are talking about. So there are quite a number of industries like pharmacy, agriculture, and even Reliance industry, I mean what I would say, the petrochemical industries. They all need people also with a strong chemistry background and with an engineering inputs to that. So we realized this gap and again started a new program. So these are just a few examples what people can do. We also thought that people of various departments should come together and start working together. We started what we call it as ID-PhD program, where a faculty from one department, let's say mechanical, and another faculty from chemical come together and give a project proposal, one-page proposal. And we make a list of all these projects, put it on our website before a student applies for a PhD. And the students are interviewed against those projects, and we ask the student while applying, pick up 3 or 4 choices of yours in which you would like to work, in which project you would like to work, and select them for exclusively for a project. So they don't belong to any one particular department, they belong to this what we call it as CIP. And the interview committee is also going to be significantly different, which does not belong to a particular department. So these are all important. We were just talking earlier that we have created the branches so that people can understand a particular subject better. But these things, like many a times religion, becomes a barrier for somebody to grow beyond a religion. Okay? So similarly here, these things have become a barrier for us to break these barriers and come together and understand what we actually need for the future. I don't think there are any barriers in science. Okay, whether you call it as chemistry or physics, when you go up to the atomic level, it is very difficult to say whether we are talking of chemistry or physics. So these are very, very important things that I feel are important for somebody to look at and see how do we take the higher education in a direction where we all come together. Okay, so we started this in a big way. So every year we are now started recruiting about 20 PhD students to begin with this kind of what we call it as interdisciplinary. In addition, we also started giving funding to our faculty. Whenever 2 faculty come together from different departments, and last year we started about 10 projects with about 10 lakhs each. We began saying that if you want to come together, and this project should lead to slowly a center of excellence in a particular interdisciplinary area. So these are all things that I feel are very, very important for one to look at and see how we break these barriers. The second thing is also very important. We strongly believe that the higher education, particularly engineering education, should be more industry focused. And a number of initiatives we have just started last 1.5 years, and I want to share some of those. For example, many of these engineering colleges have what is called summer internship programs. Okay, these summer internship programs are typically for 2 months, and in 2 months many a times we understand that neither the student understands much about the industry, nor the industry gets any benefit out of that. So we have completely revised our whole curriculum to ensure that in the 6th semester of our undergraduate curriculum, there are no core courses at all, and ensure that 6th semester, which is January to July, the student can go to any industry and spend time. So we call it a semester-long internship program. We give about 6 credits for that. The student comes back, submits a report, and a viva is conducted and a grade is given. So this is something which large number of industries and R&D labs are very happy about, and many of our students are going to these places. In addition, the student can also possibly pursue a kind of an exchange program with a university whether it is in the country or outside the country, or even use that opportunity to work on their own startup. Okay, because we want to grow in a big way in the area of startups. About 1.5 lakh square foot building is getting ready in about a month at IIT Hyderabad, which we want to utilize for various startups, not only from within the institute but also from outside the institute. That is something which we strongly felt that it is also a need of the hour, to the extent that we started a department of entrepreneurship. And this Department of Entrepreneurship this year, coming year, is going to start an Mtech program on what we call it as techno-entrepreneurship. So we take engineers and 2 years we try to convert them into entrepreneurs. So that is also another very, very important area which we feel that is the need of our when we talk about future of higher education. And also we started thinking that we should go closer to the industry and ensure that we kind of serve the industry in a big way. So we started what are called online Mtech programs where we teach in the evening hours. For example, every Wednesday and Friday I teach from 5:30 to 7 to industry people on a particular subject. And this is something which most of our faculty started doing. We started an Mtech in EV technology, we started an Mtech in what is called computational mechanics, we started a master's program on design. All these are typically given to the industry people who are working professionals, and we give them around 4 years time. A typical Mtech program is 2 years. We give you an opportunity to possibly take them in a relaxed mode. At the end of 4 years, you come to our convocation and collect the degree certificate. So the people come to IIT only on the day of the convocation, more or less, unless there is a special requirement that they have to come. So this is something which has also helped. We also felt that people in industry, when they want to do a PhD, typically there is something called residential requirement in most of the IITs. We have waived off this very recently to see that industry people can do PhD by doing the coursework, whatever needed, in a remote fashion. And thanks to COVID, we have learnt a lot on how to do online teaching, and that is something which has come to a great, I would say, boon to all of us. And we thought, why not we use this opportunity to ensure that if somebody in an industry can get a one semester or a 1 year leave, in fact the industry can possibly send him off forever. That is the kind of demand that people have in industry. So it is important that we should look at those aspects. And also when we are talking of the second topic, which is called internationalization, that is another area where NEP also talks very strongly. And it is important that we need to go all over the world to see how do we bring people into the country and bring the same glory that India had long back, where when we had Nalanda, Takshashila, we all talk about people from all over the world coming here and learning. We started a new PhD program which we call it as FIRST, Fellowship for International Research Scholars in Technology, we call it as, where any foreign passport holder can apply for a PhD at IIT Hyderabad. We give about 60,000 rupees per month. A typical PhD student gets about 30 to 35,000. Whereas here we are giving almost double the fellowship, and in addition they get about 1 lakh contingency grant per year. And we, to ensure that they are all of really top class, we keep a CGPA criterion of around 8.5 in their UG or a PG, wherever they have done that, to be even shortlisted for an interview. So we don't want to get everybody into our PhD program, but we want to see selected people who are brilliant people. Particularly I see East European countries, Russia, there are so many strong mathematics, science background people are all available. Why not we bring them and ensure that India has this cross cultural fertilization, and a lot of good ideas emerge out of it, and then we grow as a very strong global economy. And so these are all possible. We have also a number of what we call it as joint doctoral programs now. In addition, Government of India has recently started talking in a big way that India should grow more into semiconductor industry. And there are moves that a huge fab facility is going to come in India. And even before that, our ASST chairman, under his leadership, a big program is being started where can we prepare human resources for the futuristic fab facilities that are going to come into India. And we all know Taiwan is well known for their knowledge in the area of semiconductor fabrication. So a number of programs are being thought about. We talk about what is called a 2+2 program, an undergraduate program where the students spend 2 years in an IIT or any other institution, and another 2 years in Taiwan, for example, and get hands-on training on the fabrication facilities so that they become very strong. Similarly, another master's program we are starting next year, where it will be a 1+1 program, where 1 year the students will spend at IIT Hyderabad and 1 year in Taiwan, and ensure that we are creating the kind of background that is needed and the kind of knowledge and hands-on experience that is needed to handle the fab facilities in India. So there are numerous things that one can do, and these are just a few ideas that I thought I can share with you, and I'm sure that together, when we jointly work together, there are many more great ideas that can be churned out and implemented. What is important is to not just talk about things, but to implement things. This is very, very important. We have been talking for a long time on what we call it as academia, industry, interactions. But what is important and the need of the hour right now is actually do certain things where we actually demonstrate such an interaction rather than talk about these interactions. I think with these few words, thank you very much for this opportunity. If you have any questions later, I will take up those. Thank you very much.